Hey, Alex or Tom, no Joe this week?
Say again.
No Joe this week?
I'm still not hearing you very well. Go ahead. Say
Oh,
again.
sorry. I'm just wondering if Joe's going to make it this week or not. That's all.
Oh, I have no idea.
I knew he said that he was going to miss a couple of meetings. I didn't know we were, because there was one that he wasn't going to be at that he showed up to, and then there was, oh, here he is. It's popping on.
Sorry, guys. I just entering all the details.
Yep. All right. Well, it's 5 o'clock. Looks like everybody is here. So we will call to order the May 11th, 2021 Fire District 5 Commissioners meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right. Any commissioner absences coming up here? All right. Seeing none. Any communications to the board?
Not this week, no.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the April 27th meeting?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes. And I did watch it. So
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right. Voucher approvals.
I'll move that we approve the vouchers as outlined in the agenda, accounts payable, payroll, and ACH payroll transfer totaling $2,052,031.51.
I'll second that. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Who was the second on that? I didn't catch
Joe.
it.
Joe was.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. Any local 3390 reports tonight? Anybody from the local out there? All right, seeing none, we'll get into Chief's report.
All right, well, thank you. First up is Chief Meyer on some promotions and laterals.
Well, good afternoon. So just wanted to fill you in tonight on some of our hiring processes and some of our promotions. So one of the things I wanted to first start out with is our lateral hires. One of our candidates has withdrawn from the process. She has elected to stay with her existing department. And so we have evaluated the list of our laterals, and we have believed that we have exhausted the list. So we are just going to be moving forward at this time with only 3 lateral hires. And if you remember that they are supposed to be coming on July 6th. So we'll reassess what we're going to do with that FTE at a later date, but we felt that that was the prudent thing to do at this time. Our entry-level firefighters are in the academy. There's 7 of them there. They were actually doing some hose on our drill ground this last Friday. So it was good to go out and see them and just catch up with them and participate in that training. So that was great last Friday. Moving on to promotions, Nick Langlow has been promoted to AC of administration. Tom Voigt has been promoted to battalion chief in anticipation of Pete Capella's retirement here in June. Filling in those slots, Patrick Phillips has been promoted to lieutenant on C shift. Brad Nicholson is lieutenant on B shift. And then also we have a couple temporary appointments that are happening right now, as far as we have a couple injuries and illness. So Nate Lawrence is filling in for one of our lieutenants on a temporary position. And then Josh Bassinas is filling in the training division on a temporary spot. So that's kind of an update on our hiring and our current promotions. So if you have any questions, that's all I have for you tonight.
All right, if there's no questions, Chief Bernstrom has an update on GEMT and CARES.
So a couple of good news items on the revenue front. We've gotten our interim GEMT settlement for $323,000, $323,961. And the reason for that large amount is that our cost report year over year increased $700 a call. Some of that was because our costs remained constant and we ran fewer calls. So that would increase that overall. The other was a temporary COVID increase that was added to our supplemental payment. So that is some additional revenue that's appeared here, and we'll be happy to put that to good use. The other item, though, that's occurred is that we have gotten a final declaration with regard to our CARES billing for that January to end of July of last year, and that has been determined eligible at the $386,892 rate. So based on the, might be interesting. I don't know if you can see our application, but I want to say kudos to Danette and along with Jenny and Katrina putting that together. It was no small feat, and but it's going to bring, again, significant revenue replacement or reimbursement to our district. That was a team effort. There was a lot of work put into that. So if you see them, give them a thank you. And we're already at work at the next the next billing cycle. So just a couple of revenue updates. Good news this time. Unless there's any questions, that would be all.
All right. Chief Johnson with a COVID report and a move to Station 55.
Well, good evening, everybody. So COVID report. So numbers that just came out this afternoon from Pierce County, Tacoma Pierce County Health Department. Our 14-day case rate number is up to 364.1 per 100,000. So if we were looking at the phases, that would actually put us back into phase 1, but we are actually frozen for a couple of weeks. And then hospitalization is the other one that they're measuring, and we're at 12 per 100,000. And once again, we would break both of those barriers, which would put the county into phase 1. 136 new cases as of today. Brings the total to 46,168 for the county. We had reported earlier, in the weeks coming up to where we're at now, vaccines are available to everybody 16 and over. Soon they will be available to that group of 12 to 15 also. Just waiting for final word and how that's all going to work. Currently, we don't have anybody out on a COVID illness, so we're all healthy and hopefully we'll stay that way for a while. Any questions about the COVID report? Perfect. So Station 55, it's been a process, but we have started the move of prevention to Station 55. Chief Waters is actually there full-time now, and we are still in the moving process of moving Inspector Hayes and Prevention Specialist Curran, and we're waiting for some shelving units and things like that. Actually, it's across the district. We're running into a supply chain issue of a lot of things that we were not expecting. So slowing us down a little bit, but the move is still moving forward, and hopefully we'll be there and have that move complete in a couple of weeks. That's the end of my report, unless there's any questions of me. All right, thank you.
Great, thank you, everybody. And I am going last. And so a few updates from me is we sent out a roles and responsibilities link document that you can click on. We put it on the SharePoint because it's a fluid document that we'll be updating as we go. But you can always go there to see which chief has which role and responsibility. In that, we've also added some things that we may not have capacity to do, but we wanted to make sure and know which division some of that is into. So down at the bottom, you'll see in each division things that will fall within the division, but we don't have the capacity to do, and then we can address that at a later time. Also a reminder that we'll be recognizing some retirees at our next meeting. So that'll happen here. We'll be going back and forth between the meeting and here next meeting on the 25th. Just recognizing all those retirees for the last year that have served us. Next, the standard to cover risk assessment. We're getting pretty close to doing all of our due diligence there, looking at different companies that can help us out with that. We have a finance committee meeting this Thursday. So because that is an unfunded item, we'll be talking to the finance committee about that. And then hopefully bringing back, my plan is to bring it back here with any recommendations from the finance committee to the 5/25 meeting. I plan to ask for approval of an unbudgeted project at our next meeting. Along with that, we've been working along with the capital facilities plan. The cost estimates are with Rice Fergus Miller, and we're hoping to have some answers back from them within the next 2 to 3 weeks for some cost estimates. That is all that I have for an update right now. Any questions for me?
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to standing committee reports. Do we have any standing committee reports tonight? Anything, Kevin? Looks like you're thinking about it.
Well, I was just going to say the finance and the finance committee finance committee will be having a meeting on Thursday to go over what Chief Dolan, I think, was talking about there. So we have a meeting on Thursday at 3 o'clock.
All right. All right, seeing nobody else, we added a line item to the agenda tonight. It's a chairman's report. I kind of asked for that to get put in here, just so that I have an opportunity to share anything with everybody, but also in a meeting last week, Chief Doan brought up his performance evaluation, kind of his annual review, which is in his contract, and wanted to know the expectations about that. And in that meeting, Commissioner Sudich kind of shared that we'd always let the chief kind of take a look at the parameters. I mean, we have a policy 7000.4.2, and then also a standard evaluation form. And I think, formerly Chief Burgess would take a look at that, fill that out, and then give it back to us, and then we'd either agree or disagree with it, and then go from there. But Chief Doan wanted to talk a little bit more about it tonight, so I'm going to give him a few minutes right now. So go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, thank you. So I had asked Commissioner Wilsey, I said in my contract, it says that the district shall review and evaluate the performance of the employee at least once annually. A review and evaluation of the performance shall be in accordance with criteria developed by the board and shall define goals and performance objectives for the employee. And so we were 2 months in, and I'm like, all right, when will I know what the performance objectives is? You know, how do I know if I'm doing a good job, and what will I be evaluated on? And I just wanted to ask that question. And so Commissioner Wilsey said, well, let's have a discussion here. This morning I came in a little early, and I was thinking, rather than just throw it out there, you know, blank, why don't I pulled out my job description, and 4 big essential duties was community relations, planning and development, district operations, and administration. So I went through those essential duties and just kind of made a list of the things that I've done in my first 2 months that fall within those 4. So I thought maybe I would go over that, and then go over quickly kind of future goals for the next year. And then I'll hear from all of you. Is there anything that I'm doing that I should stop doing? And is there anything I'm not doing that you'd like me to do? So that's the way I thought I'd break it down, just to, rather than just throw it out blank. I tell you what I've been doing and what I plan to do, and get your feedback, if that's all right. So under community relations, for the last 2 months, the things that I've done, if I joined and attended the noon Rotaries. I also have a presentation scheduled in August to present at the Rotary. Next week, I have a harbor chat with Robin Dennison. I've been attending the chamber meetings. I purchased a house in the community and moved into the community, and I've been participating at Canterwood events. I've met with the mayor, the police chiefs, been attending the Pierce County Fire Chiefs meetings, met with Key Peninsula Fire Chief, Puget Sound Fire Chief, Bellevue Fire Chief, Steve Wright from the Washington Fire Chiefs. I've been assisting the city of Gig Harbor with letters of recommendation on infrastructure projects. I've attended a couple Pierce County Fire Commissioner meetings. I've had dinner at every fire station on every shift. I put together a district-wide training that I've been putting the entire department through. It's about a 2.5, 3-hour class, just talking about expectations of all of our employees and customer service. I started our weekly ride-alongs last week, and I had my first one, and I have my next one this week, where I spend a half a day riding along with an engine, just to getting feedback from them and going on calls with them. I've had a one-on-one meeting with every battalion chief, division chief, and assistant chief, and with everybody here at 50 and all of you. I've been participating in the battalion chief and lieutenant interviews for promotion, and I'm going to the Washington Fire Chief Conference next week. Under planning and development, as a leadership team, we've come up with our #1 priority for the next 6 months, and I will want your feedback if we're headed in the right direction. But our #1 in the next 6 months is to present the capital needs and a funding proposal to you as the commissioners within the next 6 months. And within that, we need to do a standard of cover and risk assessment. I think we've narrowed it down to a company, and we'll bringing it back to you in the next couple of weeks. We're working on the capital facilities plan, specifically the training campus and the fire stations. We're looking at a response data and a dashboard. I sent out to you a demonstration from International Public Safety Data Institute. And I think in the short term, we'll be going with them to help us with our response data and a dashboard. Long-term, I believe that we probably need an FTE to do the GIS mapping and data analytics in the long term. We've clarified our roles and responsibilities on our command staff. Under district operations, I did the demonstration from Lori Moore and International Public Safety Data Institute and had David Blankenship from the Western Fire Chiefs here. I've been participating in the County IT Consortium, and I've been responding as a duty chief. Under administration, we did a 2-day command staff leadership meeting. I promoted the assistant chief of admin and finance, reassigned some assistant chiefs, been participating in labor management meetings, working on 4th Platoon. I attended a 1-day SNR employment law and in the fire service conference, and attended a 2-day LIRA collective bargaining conference, and also the district setting and commissioner meetings. Future moving forward, really taking us from what I've been calling it going from good to great. I believe that I need to set a really clear vision and direction and create a strategic plan and update that strategic plan. Because of what we have to do this next year, that might get put off till next year to focus on, but we need to really prioritize where we're going, what we're doing, who's doing what, and when are those timelines due. I've talked a lot about GIS, mapping, data analytics, standard of cover. I think that and would like for our department to become an accredited fire department someday. I think that's in the future, and I don't think we have time for that in this first year to 2 years, but I would like to make that as a goal to become an accredited fire department. In finance and administration, I believe that we need to focus on some more financial analytics. We've been making some decisions in administration without all of the financial analytics, and I think that needs to change. I will let Chief Langlow make the decisions on this, but we do need in that division probably some type of CFO or financial manager to help us set our long-term goals for our finances and do some financial analytics. Budget Bill 2022 is coming. I think the team that's going to really focus on that is Tanya, Chief Langlow, myself, and we're going to ask Chief Burgess to help us. But I envision a little smaller process than in the future, just to get us over the hump to set just a 1-year budget. I also see a need in our documentation when it comes to our resolutions, our policies, our procedures, our ops memos, our collective labor agreement, and our MOAs. We need to really we need to clean that up, and that's gonna take a lot of time and effort. I see project management in the near future that we need to focus a little more on that. Succession planning. I'd like to bring some leadership development, not just with the command staff, but with the entire department at every rank, and even some with us as a team. So I've asked for 4 or 5 different companies to give us some plans to do that, and I'll be bringing that to you. And I think some of our stations, although we have some long-term goals to fix some of our stations, our stations need a little bit of love, and from kitchen tables to some headsets to some hose. I think there's some things that we can do at the station. So that's a quick high-level overview of kind of the 4 essential duties, what I've been doing, what I think we need to focus on in the near future. And I just wanted to pause to see if I'm on the right track. If you have any feedback, again, asking those 2 questions. Is there anything I'm doing or we're doing that we shouldn't be? Or is there anything that I haven't mentioned that you would like me to start doing and start to focus on? And I'll just turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Go ahead, Kevin.
What do you do in your free time? That's it. I tell you, Chief, I tell you what, I've been through a few evaluations and we're only being here 2 months. I tell you what, my head is still spinning. It's amazing what you've been put together, what you've been doing. So, I appreciate how you really stepped in and put your experience to use with our department.
So, Chief, I have one thing to add, and we've talked about this in the past. We need to make sure we're focusing on how we're getting responses in the unstaffed stations. And I know that Chief Johnson, and with the shuffle, I'm not sure who's going to wind up being responsible for that. I think it's Chief Bierstrom, but we need to make sure that we're not forgetting kind of restarting a resident program and trying to get some people into those buildings. So we've got at least some response capability in areas where right now we don't. Whether it's that or whether it's, pulse point verified responders or that those kind of things, I think we need to forefront that. But I completely agree with you, mainly about the capital facilities being kind of priority number one, if only because we've got that conditional use permit at the training center, and that's sort of the ticking clock that kind of puts that time pressure on us above a lot of other things.
Well, I'll just say I concur with Bryce. We need to, consider, and I know you are, it's one of the, you had a lot to say there. And I think it's just one of those things that you might have just overlooked. But, when you discuss going to fourth platoon, you need to really discuss about, staffing those other stations, that are those remote stations that I know maybe don't have the call volume, but will have the higher risk. Low frequency, high risk type of situations when you get out there in the far reaches of our district. So, I would concur with that. And then, I will say this time and time again, I'm very happy with our decision to hire you, Chief. And you made it very clear to me, and I think every commissioner sitting here with your just about a little over 7.5 minutes speech there with everything you've been doing and everything you want to accomplish. So, and I think you hit it right on the head with as far as what the goals and desires of the commissioners here. That's exactly in line with what we're all thinking. So I'll turn it over to the last two, Joe or Tom.
I don't have anything to add. I'm thrilled with the choice we made, and I love the leadership and direction and focus. So just let us know what we need to do to support you, Chief.
I guess my only thought here is, and Alex and I discussed this last week, is are we still in agreement that the chief will do a self-evaluation and then will, if necessary, critique it, agree with it, or whatever? Are we still in agreement on that?
Tom, I'm good with that, but obviously when we've had that in the past, I think we've all put thought into what's in there. I take it seriously when we read that evaluation, but if somebody has a different perspective, if Chief Doan would prefer that we do that, I'm open to suggestion.
No, and when Chief Doan came to me, he wants the expectation. He wants the where's the goalpost at? What am I shooting for? And so that I can perform to what you guys are expecting me to do. And I completely understand that at the same time, but you've obviously seen what he has been doing. And I feel completely comfortable with turning that over to him. Now, he hadn't even seen, I think, either of those documents before last week, and Tanya shared them with him. And I still feel comfortable with him, telling us what he's doing, right? Because all of us can't know everything that the chief's doing all the time, right? It's just not realistic to think that way. And I want it to be written down and kind of evaluated, documented. And then I think it's right for us to put in, what we're feeling as well, all of us have kind of different, I think all of our priorities are the same. I think we put them in different order, depending on who we are and what our desire or what our I don't say pet peeve, but what our, prioritization is. So I think that's a good place for us to kind of intervene after he's put it together, and then we can come and review it. So if anybody else wants anything different, please state your piece now, or we'll just continue on the path we've been on and work that way.
I think it's really fair for us to put up a goalpost. I mean, that's, and so I like that he's asking for it. But he's already doing the things that I want him to do. So I have nothing else to add. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, and I feel like we're so close to the hiring, and we've talked so much about what our desires as a district are with the chief that I think we have kind of give him some informal expectations of what our priorities are. And I think maybe some time from now, maybe not so close to the initial hiring, that when maybe we've slowed down a little bit, that we'll kind of take a look again and reevaluate everything. But honestly, like everybody else is saying here, Chief, you're on the right path, and yeah, we want you to keep going, and we'll let you know if there's something that comes up or that we want to have changed. But I think for now, I think we'll stick with the same process, and please fill out the forms, let us know what you're doing. I think you've done that already. You just read off of it, so and then we can add to it and give you the rating and talk about it as the group then. So all right.
Yep, thank you. I'm glad we did that. I just wanted us all to be on the same page of where we're headed and make sure that I'm doing what you want. So that
Yep.
helps me a lot, and I appreciate it. But please always feel free to let me know if I'm getting off course.
No, I think we're pretty comfortable right now, Chief. So go ahead, relax a little bit. All right, so I have nothing more in my chairman's report. Is there any old business anybody wants to bring up? All right, we'll move on to new business. Looks like we've got some paving bid results, I think, in the packet.
Yes, you do. It's in page 26 of your packet. Is the last Tuesday, Chief Johnson and I opened the paving bids. We had 4 bids come in. The range from total bid from 192 to 331. So we had a pretty wide spread. Last year's job was done by Puget Paving, but looks like low bid this year is Agate Asphalt of Paulsbo. Had our consultant do research on this firm, and I've contacted some previous jobs, one of which was Central Kitsap Fire, who had nothing but glowing things to say about Agate Asphalt and their working relationship on the projects. And I would recommend that we award the bid to Agate Asphalt. Both parts of the bid, one is the paving at Station 56 and the other is repairs at 6 different facilities, for a bid total of $192,968 plus tax. So the grand total would be $209,756.22. And I would recommend that we authorize that and sign a contract with Agate Asphalt.
And Chief Watson, this was a budgeted item for this year, right?
It was a budgeted item. It is a budgeted item. It was budgeted at 200. It went up a little more than we thought, but we're seeing that across the board, commissioners, just probably like you're seeing at your home stuff. So it's a little more than we budgeted, but it's not too much over the budget. So we'll be able to absorb that in other areas.
So are you looking for a motion then, Chief Watson?
Yeah, yes, I am. I'm recommending that you make with a motion that you award it to Agate Asphalt of Paulsbo.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we award the paving, rehab, and repairs contract for Station 56 and other facilities with a grand total of $209,756.22 to Agate Asphalt out of Paulsbo.
I'll second that motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sewage,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right, next we got some surplus of some rope rescue equipment, looks like there, Chief.
Yeah, the next page, page 27, has a resolution 2021-09, which is surplusing some TRT equipment. I think Chief Langlow's last thing as TRT lead was to wants to get rid of these things. This is rope, anchor straps, just some miscellaneous supplies that we want to get rid of. This is all District 5 equipment, no P-sort equipment. So I would recommend that we surplus equipment by adopting resolution 2021-09.
We get a motion.
So moved.
I'll make, well, sorry, go. Looks like Joe made the motion. I'll second.
There we go. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right, then it looks like final items, personal services contract for the new Assistant Chief Langlow.
Yeah, thank you. We're asking that you approve the personal service contract for Assistant Chief Langlow. It's the same standard contract that everyone else has. There is one change that I want to highlight that we want to probably change in all the other chiefs contract that we found. There's a provision in the assistant chiefs that says that any training must be approved by the board. And we did remove that in Chief Langlow's and let me approve an assistant chief's training if it obviously falls within the budget. So that's the only change that we made. I don't think we've done it in practice. I don't think you've ever been asked to approve an assistant chief's training. I usually do that, or sometimes they even do it without my approval if it's small. So that's the only change that I wanted to highlight, and we'll probably need to change that in the other contracts in the future. So if you have any questions, or we need to approve the personal services contract for Chief Langlow.
Any discussion on that change? Everybody's all right with it? All right. Can I get a motion then?
Move that we accept the personal service contract for Chief Langlow.
Second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right, anything else under new business tonight, or is that it? All right, seeing none, we'll go to open public comments. Anybody wishing to come forward, please state your name for the record. You will have 3 minutes. We got anybody out there tonight? All right, seeing nobody, any good of the order for the group here?
Alex, I just wanted to just ask Chief Doan about one thing. I've noticed recently in the vouchers, it seems like we're having more and more expenses going to kind of our rolling stock. And I know when you interviewed, you talked about how something you did in Boise was kind of come up with information for the city council about, hey, this is how much we're spending on older equipment. And as somebody that once upon a time sat down and typed out a spreadsheet of this is what I'm spending on my 11-year-old car versus what a car payment would be for a new car. I think that sort of information might be helpful for us to know as we talk about capital facilities and as we talk about those expenses going forward. So I don't know if I'm just kind of anecdotally seeing that, and it's just normal, but it might be helpful just to put a bug in your ear going forward, like quarterly or annually or something, just to have that present to us. Hey, historically, this is how much we spent. This is how much we're spending now.
Great. I will add it to my list too. Yeah, I think it's important to go to look at our maintenance per mile. Those two lines are going to cross at some point between purchasing and maintenance, and I'm suspecting, like you are, that they've already crossed and we're spending more. But yes, I hear you, and I added it to the list.
Just to add one more thing to your infinitely long list already.
All right. Any other good of the order for tonight? Go ahead, Tom.
I'd just like to personally welcome Chief Nick Langlow. And on a personal note, it'll be nice to have somebody that enjoys the colors purple and gold in administration. Just a thought.
Yeah, congratulations, Nick. It's official. We approved the contract and everything. There you go. Go Dogs. All right. Any other good of the order for tonight? All right. Any special interests or upcoming events? Okay, seeing none. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, May 25th, 5 p.m. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everybody.